Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the MLG Spring Arena. One of these two champions will fall here. I'm DJ Wheat.
And I'm D'Apollo.
And this is going to be an amazing matchup. We just saw MC fight for his life versus Stefano. He was sent down to lower bracket. And who does he have to face upon arriving DRG?
Yeah, that's an incredible run, unfortunately. But we look at that. Dongraegu actually had a very close game versus Sake. Just played on the gameplay number one just about 30 minutes ago. Sake actually took a map from him. Bit of a confidence kind of jab at him there. But likewise, MC dropped down through losing to Stefano.
Yeah, so I mean, it sets up an interesting scenario, Paul, because MC just lost to a Zerg player who he has historically beat. Of course, online, show matches. This was the first time they played in a live environment, and he was able to take it 2 games. You know, what is worse, losing a matchup or losing one game to a Protoss before in the previous round, or being dropped down, facing off against Stefano, losing, and then having to go up against DRG, who you know is a Zerg champion?
And I think the real big thing to think about here is that MC went into playing against Stefano with quite a high confidence level, I feel, but then to lose 0-2 and then to have to play a player very similar to Stefano, I think that's going to hurt him a lot here. Dongraegu, though, is just on fire. Despite losing versus Paul, he still played one of the best games and best series we've seen here at MLG, and he's made it way through the loser bracket to face up against MC. Very excited for this one. Win rate 73% for MC. He actually doesn't lose to Zerg players.
Yeah, which was surprising to see, you know, Stefano really kind of have a good time versus MC. I mean, don't get me wrong, the games were amazing, but at the same time, you kind of expected at least maybe to go to a third map. It's just an amazing thing. But anyway, let's introduce our players up here in the northeast position. As the red Zerg fighting for his life, it's MVP DRG. And in the southwest, as the blue Protoss, he was sent down here by the Zerg player Millennium Stefano in the upper bracket. Now he fights for his life. It's SKMC.
Both of these guys, they've conquered Korea. They've got GSL titles. They've conquered outside of Korea with other titles as well. DreamHack, Intel Extreme Masters, you name it. They have it. And of course, Dongraegu, reigning champion here, could be knocked out. But there's two sides to that coin. MC's never really won an MLG event before. He's won every other title. Yeah. And this is something he wants.
He's said it before. He wants it. He wants it badly. And quite frankly, I mean, DRG, although he has won, you know, several different MLG competitions, and he's placed top 3 in several as well. You know, lately his past couple performances, you know, they've been a little shaky. Finds himself in the loser bracket a little earlier than I think even he would expect to be. But we've also seen him fight his way out of the losers bracket, go through an incredible amount of matches in order to ultimately find himself in the finals, and in some cases winning the competition. So I think we've got two very, very dedicated, amazing players here, and either way, I mean, it's hard to say because you got to be a favorite of both these guys, right? I mean,
yeah, it's so difficult to call it. You know, it can be a 2-0 sweep, it can be 2-1, and that can go either way here. Of course, this is going to be a very textbook style of play that we're going to see here. Of course, spawning pool into double hatchery. You're not really going to see anything out of the ordinary here, and of course, MC throwing down quite a late forge, and of course, is going to get that Nexus down, but within Zerg versus Protoss, Zerg already automatically have what they're doing. They're going through hatch. You are not stopping that. They're going for it. It's down to MC to actually make the decisions, the choice. What is MC gonna do to try to topple this giant?
And I'll tell you what, we already see the first hatch blocked. It looks like the probe is gonna go down to the third, sees that it's not there, and this was a major mistake I feel like MC made in the game versus Stefano, is that he actually allowed Stefano to take it. He decided to go Nexus first. He wasn't able to get that pylon down. He gave him the free natural, which of course led to a free third, and he doesn't pylon block that third at all, but he's gonna keep a close eye on it with this probe, and so I mean, I just feel like based off of that decision, he's never going to let another Zerg player do that, at least not anytime soon.
6 slings. That was actually a 14 spawning pool, by the way, but just a little variant there. But 6 slings are out here, and of course he had to build 6 slings. MC had forced that maneuver out from Dongraegu. Dongraegu, though, with 6 slings, can obviously take map control and still have links chasing around, making sure probes don't come out. But more importantly, with 6 slings, which is the underline here, 6 links beat 1 Zealot. So if we do see MC try to scout with a Zealot, of course he just collects all his links together and takes the Zealot out without dropping a single ling, which may force MC to build a Stalker to scout.
Sure.
Or if not, then he's actually going to be playing completely blind.
And we've talked a lot about, and I mean, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, but I feel like especially on Daybreak, like the Protoss has to put some level of pressure on that third base to just allow a Zerg to drone up to get to that point where they're just going to have an amazing production coming out of all those hatcheries. It seems to just mean the demise of a Protoss player. So, you know, is it going to be a Stargate? Is it going to be a multi-gate opening? You know, what does he have to do? But as you mentioned, having those Zerglings out and being able to stop any proxy pylons, etc., I think it's just a big advantage. Look at that probe sneaking past those 3 lings. Quite good there from MC.
And there are 3 lings waiting to greet it, though, with, of course, the other 3. Probe is going to, more importantly, he's just going to get the scout of the 3rd hatch. Even though he can assume that Dongraegu has taken 3 hatches, you kind of have to confirm it. And that's exactly what he's going to try to do there. But we do see that +1 on the way. Chrono Boost had been spent into the Nexus, but now has stopped. He has up to almost 100 energy banked up here. And that could be for a variety of different reasons here, whether he saves it to use it on the gateways that he could produce right now, whether he says, no, screw it, I just use it in the Nexus. So very important to see, and he actually is using 1 in the Nexus, 2 in the Nexus here. And I think upon seeing that 3rd hatchery was down, he's like, well, I'm just going to take my gases now, I'm going to Chrono Boost in the Nexus, and we may see MC try to take a fast 3rd, because think about it, from a Zerg's perspective, they don't have speed. They're not going to push roaches across the map, and you can take an opportunity to do something along those lines.
Yep, a lot of discipline here from DRG as he stops short of that cannon. Will get away without losing a single ling. And I kind of agree with you. I would expect to see maybe that next base coming up, but it looks like we're going to have a robotics facility being thrown down first. And that +1 is going to be finishing up fairly soon, but this is going to allow DRG to get that creep spread. He's already started. He's not really like overdoing it, but he's going to extend it out from the 3rd and the natural, so he's got a little bit more mobility. He has not allowed any proxy pylons to go up at all. There we do have a scouting overlord, and you know, what kind of key information did he see there?
Well, he saw the robotics facility down, but he also saw the gases been taken nice and early through the overlord at the top side too. So he's like, well, why has he got a robotics facility? Why does he have so much gas? Is he going to go robotics bay? And these are the thought processes that is in his mind right now. But with MC, he just shown his hand, basically. So MC may not do that now. So he may just decide to use that gas on sentries instead. He has decided to go for an observer here, but weirdly enough, we're actually seeing double Roach Warren come down. And that could be interesting. It's not really a mistake, especially at this level. The double Roach one will be that he can research speed and also tunneling claws at the same time here. And it looks like he is expecting some form of heavy sentry play. Of course, those upgrades neglect the force fields.
Yeah, and that's a great point. You know, especially with the lair already finished, this macro hatch going up. You know, getting those upgrades instead of just staggering, you can get then your burrow, your speed, and your tunneling claws all at the same time. And we have the speed going down. No, yep, both of them going down. So it's exactly what he's going for. Meanwhile, he's setting himself up. He's got an eyeball on that 3rd base. He's likely going to lose that observer, or excuse me, that overlord. Actually, he did not lose it. I'm not quite. Oh, there's actually a cliff there. I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't either, actually.
I didn't know that.
I'm not going to lie, I didn't know it. But what we're seeing now is Dongraegu's seeing this 3rd base. He's like, well, that's pretty early. You know, I'm not going to allow that to happen in this game. So he's going to pile on the pressure shortly. And we're going to see the flood of the swarm coming down. But the robotics bay is about to finish. He can get, if he can survive until the robotics bay finishes, the Colossus comes out, he'd be in fantastic shape to hold the 3rd base, to hold the natural. But that's quite a while away, DJ. You know, the Colossus isn't even in production yet. Of course, he's actually building another Immortal, realizing that he has an observer in the center map. He can see the roaches coming across. He's like, well, if I go Colossus, that's a big investment. It takes time, but Immortals and Force Fields should be enough to hold on. And with the additional gateways coming down too, This is still a very tense moment for MC. Force Fields have to be spectacular.
Now, this is going to be such an upgrade timing here for DRG. +1 speed, tunneling claws. Burrow is already finished, and he is already setting himself up for a potential multi-pronged attack. Now, the Observer is watching everything that's happening, so while DRG thinks I'm being such a crafty and sneaky individual, MC's well aware on exactly what's going on, but I think he's going to commit to some sort of an attack here. He's going to go after, he snipes off the sentries, and now he's going to start working on these Zealots. If he's left with just those Immortals, he might be able to go ahead and smack them. Oh, nice, he gets out of the force field. He's going to take a few of those out as well. And so far, it looks like DRG making the most of this two-pronged attack.
Oh man, this looks like an upgraded Stefano style here, I suppose you could say, with the Borrow. He just goes underneath force field, so much energy wasted. 2 Immortals already down, but the Colossus is out. That's the key in holding this, but he's so low in energy, he lost sentries there to keep the Roaches away. This doesn't have Thermal Lance, this Colossus.
Oh, he's going to catch the Colossus from the back. It's so close. He's not going to be. Yes, he is. He sends 2 Roaches away. He's going to get another Immortal if he just focuses it down, and there it is. He's not going to be able to get that 3rd Immortal, but that one Colossus is done with. The second one only halfway out, but these move position Roaches got to get out of there. I think that this attack pretty much needs to taper off a little bit. I don't know. Does he keep the aggression going?
Well, he will. He'll try again because he's on the verge. If he knocks down that 1 Immortal, then he has free reign upon this army, but he can't really engage with a cannon right there, powering it up. 1-1 upgrades, just 1-0 for the Roaches here for Dongraegu. And with this Colossus has popped out, I suppose MC will, nurture cater for that Colossus. Just make sure the Roaches and Lings can't get close. And once that Colossus starts to get its Thermal Lance out, he'll have to take a 4th base, which he's actually doing at this very moment. Yeah,
and you know what? I definitely feel like this is deja vu with the same game that we saw versus Stefano. But the Colossus is the big difference here. This early in the game, he did not have that available to him, and he is doing quite good here as he's attacking once again from 2 different sides. It looks like these upgrades are going to be helping out MC quite a bit, warping in a few Zealots to get rid of that. And eventually, I feel like he's got to go back to droning. There we finally see 7 drones come out. He continues his upgrade. He's trying to get that other base established. But what he doesn't want to have happen is what happened to Stefano, and that was the upgrade advantage and the push. Especially with some Colossus in there where he's frankly not ready to deal with that yet.
And now that MC's kind of weathered the storm now, so I wouldn't be surprised if he threw down a 2nd Forge and a Twilight Council again. There's a Twilight Council popping up to continue his upgrades. Whether he'll dedicate to a 2nd Forge or not, that's still to be determined. Whether he wants to send the gas and keep the gas on the robotics facility to keep those high-tech units coming out. But one thing for certain, the Infestation Pit down, double Evolution Chamber to get those upgrades. He is trying to build towards the Greater Spire, the Brutal composition already. There's the Spire and Hive starting. Pathogen Glands coming, a very key upgrade, especially if you can pin down the Colossus, then Lings can actually bring it down. As weird as that sounds, once the Colossus can't move and there's little force fields left, that's key here. And with double cannons down, fortifying these locations, MC has moved on, and if you compare this to the Stefano game, man, he lost his 3rd Nexus in that game, and still was so powerful. Yeah,
you're right. And we do have the Observer checking the southeast base, so it's going to head over there and see that this is indeed up. Is it going to sort of prompt a response out of MC? He's got a nice Colossus count here at 3. He's got several sentries, and just frankly, this Zealot Roach force is not going to be able to deal with that. He takes out this one Ling that is scouting as he heads on over to this base, and he's going to basically force an attack here on the 3rd, but with a warp in, what will he be able to do? He's definitely going to lose this 4th base.
Yeah, he's already sacrificed. He already knows it's gone. He's actually building spines to defend his 3rd base already. So he's already just said, all right, well, that 4th base is gone. But at the same time, Dongraegu is saying, well, if I defend the 3rd base, but also do damage to MCs, this could be equalized.
Yeah, and he took out the cannons, so he's working on the pylons now. He could just focus down the Nexus, but he's going to go ahead and just pillage these probes here. He does take out quite a few, sending the Zerglings after them, and these units they started to come back. It looked like MC was going to go ahead and bring it back, but there's still not much here other than 4 spines, and this army is going to have to come back. He leaves a few, try to get rid of that 3rd, but what's going to be here to defend?
Yeah, he doesn't have the kind of gas anymore to actually support the Greater Spire, to even construct it now, and he's going to go in, but there's still 3 Colossus, 4 Colossus, the high-tech remains. The army reinforcements coming back from the MC's 3rd base is still not arrived, and with the Warp Prism there, being able to warp in directly into the fight, MC is locking Dongraegu down.
Yeah, he is. Here comes a bunch of roaches from the back. He's going to be able to take out both those Colossus, and that might give him a better chance here, but he's still lacking quite a few units here. He's still at an upgrade disadvantage as it now 1-2 for MC, and even though he does start to have a good amount of units here, he just doesn't have enough, and we have more Lings coming, more Infestors, but the Roach is about done. Actually, he's cleaned up quite nicely, but I mean, it's going to be really close.
Yeah, it's still really tough to see, and he's warping his Zealots now to deal with the Lings. He knows the gases in the Infestors. He just killed Infestors. Fungal Growth is not there, so the Zealots are going to try to help out here. MC does have an upgrade lead, as we said. He's at 2-1 compared to the Lings, which are only at 1-1. Roach is at 1 also here. And MC, if he takes it to the base, Dongraegu is pulling his drones. He has to defend here.
This is exactly how Stefano defended it, but Stefano actually pulled his drones much quicker, also coinciding it with a huge influx of Lings, but it's not going to happen this time. DRG says GG.
He does indeed, and MC picks up a great, important win there. Not just because it's Dongraegu, but he just lost 0-2 versus Stefano, and now he's kind of regained his confidence, said, yeah, I still am the boss boss. You know, I still can beat any Zerg on the planet here. And that's a great confidence boost for him, but Dongraegu, I think, played that really well as well. I think he played and hardly made any mistakes either.
Yeah, let's see what the analyst has to say about this one. Total Biscuit and Wolf, what do you think?
My opinion is that he beat himself. Dongraegu beat himself in this game by attacking too much, and then MC just took the lead and ran with it. I mean, MC's play was decent, it wasn't spectacular, but Dongraegu way overcommitted. He hit that nice timing with the double upgrades to the 2 Roach Warrens, but he
which was beautiful. Yeah, but as you said, he did it too many times. He continued, he persisted with that attack, and it comes down to serious diminishing returns with that. The first attack, great. Picks off Colossus, Immortals, severely disrupts production, as well as the count of gas-heavy units. But he keeps going, and MC stabilizes, as you would expect a player of that caliber to do, and yet the attacks keep on coming to less and less effect, and then when the counterattack comes in, the defense is, of course, much weaker.
Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, you pretty much covered it all. I really feel that that's how the game went.
Yeah, I think one thing that, you know, maybe Dongraegu was, I think that because in games I've seen him play, against anybody that uses Colossus, he's actually very confident in just using Ling, Roach, Infestor to deal with that. But imagine, right now, Wolf, take this in consideration. Imagine if he didn't go Hive and he just went straight to Corruptors.
Yeah, that's something that could have helped a lot as well. And his Infestors could have been out a little bit earlier, but part of the problem was he was just spending so much gas into those Roaches that he overcommitted on. And when your opponent, if you ever have a Protoss army with a better size than yours, like if you're doing that type of attack, or if your Protoss opponent has more drones and better army than you, I mean, you're probably going to lose that game if you don't kill his Nexus, or if you don't kill, I mean, killing the Colossus, like when he killed the Colossus, I think that's when he should turn around, but he didn't.
Yeah, and it was a nice little maneuver to even pull that off in the first place, honestly. I was surprised that MC wasn't able to actually get away from that, losing all of his Colossus so quickly. But the Warpins were continued. MC with some astonishing micro, especially against that many Lings with only Stalker on the ground, holding out long enough for the Zealot Warpin to actually come.
Yeah, and using the mouse scroll button to zoom in even closer into look into that game, you can even go back to the start and say, well, why get Roach +1? Why not Roach Carapace? Because what was that upgrade for, man? I mean, if you think about it, the +1 is a great upgrade, which obviously helps to dedicated Roach players, but there's the argument for the other side of the coin, well, why don't you get Carapace?
I think that's a remarkable observation, and it's true. I mean, think about the number of Lings that he was using in addition to that Roach army, and obviously he can benefit everything. You're going to be in much better shape, especially versus, you know, that Robo army with the gateway composition. So game 1 goes to MC. We're now moving on to ESV Cloud Kingdom. Both players are ready, and we're going to be hopping into this one as well. But so interesting to see basically, you know, almost the same game. Stefano versus MC, and then ultimately DRG says, hey, that worked out pretty well. Maybe I should go with it. In fact, I will improve it a little bit. But both players had to find that point where they're like, okay, I'm done. You know, the damage has been done, or I'm not going to be able to do any more damage. I feel like DRG just